Hello and welcome to Esther's Gardening Adventures. I'm Esther, and today is the day that I try to create a gate, to make a gate for my front yard fence. I've never made any kind of gate before. I have a general concept of what I want to do, but I'm going to bring you along for the adventure to see how it turns out. It may be that I just go without a gate. It may be that I don't have any success whatsoever. So I'm excited to try. I think one of the things I really enjoy about gardening, and I've talked about this a little before, but it's the problem solving and the creativity that gets involved in gardening. When you're gardening, there are basic principles for gardening, but especially when you're new, there's a lot of experimentation going on, and there's a lot of opportunity for learning new skills and new things. And, my father was always very handy around the house, fixing things, fixing cars, building things, my brother as well. And, I wasn't as involved in that kind of a thing. And so I'm finding that part of our family blood is in me as well. I really am enjoying the process of figuring out sort of constructing things and where to put things and that sort of side of the thought process of the creativity. What I'm aiming to use are things that I have on hand. So I have a stack of bamboo poles that I bought last year that I hadn't used all of them before. They're lightweight, right? And I don't need a heavy gate. I don't need something that keeps things in or necessarily even keeps things out. I need something that's more of a deterrent to things. Like if a deer is really determined to get into my garden, it'll find a way into the garden. I don't have an 8-foot fence. I have a 6-foot fence. But having a deterrent there that will help, is the goal. I would also like to deter rabbits, but I don't know the extent to which I will be able to make that happen. So, part of this is having a lightweight material. So I have bamboo. I have zip ties that I got a huge pack of on clearance for like $2 last year. And I have old chicken wire that I used last year around my front fence. It's a little bit rusty, but I have some spray paint that's close to the color of the fence. And I'm planning on putting down a tarp potentially. I don't know. This is all conceptual at this point, and spray painting the whole thing to look, maybe leave the bamboo, but spray paint the fence part, maybe. We'll see. So it's a gorgeous day. It's 53 degrees outside, so it's a bit chilly, 53 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a bit chilly for me, but that means that I won't bake in the sun either, and it is sunny and beautiful. So let's get outside and try to make this happen. Here's what I have on hand. I have the Rust-Oleum spray paint. I have some twine because you never know, I might need it. I have a tape measurer, whether I use it properly or not, who knows. I have some wire cutters for the chicken wire. I have my zip ties here. You see? Zip ties, wire cutter. I have the bamboo sticks, whatever. And lastly, but not least, I have the chicken wire that I used around my bed in the front yard last year, and you could see I pulled it up about a month ago, and there's still a few weeks ago, there's still some stuff stuck to the fence. I'm definitely not going to need all of it, but why would I use a new roll that isn't rusty yet when I can use one that is rusty that I can spray paint? So let's go ahead and get started on figuring this out. space we have between the two is 32 inches. So I figure 36 inches will give me enough to wrap around the bamboo for the width we need for the gate. All right, next step, figuring out what to do with the bamboo. So I'm actually going to spare you the details of seeing me at the beginning of the struggle. Basically, I tried putting the poles upright between the gates and then tying a bamboo pole across with them sitting upright, and it went really bad. It just didn't work. It took so long that I'm not even sure how to edit the video in a way that would portray that, because it was not very, well, it's part of the process. So then I realized, okay, let me measure the height and the width, which I'd already done, of the where I'm going to put the gate, and let me actually just go sit in a chair and put the bamboo on the ground and just lash the pieces together for starters. So that's where we're going to pick back up. All right, so I've tied up a few of them. I've done a basic cross beam, and I realize I'm going to have to do an X shape to really give the fence gate enough support. So fingers crossed that this works. Well, the video cut out before I could show you, but I have lashed all the corners together, and I did an X and I lashed together the middle to help create some stability. It is still very wobbly, but it's staying in shape generally. So, you know, pretty close to what I envisioned. I might need to do another set of bamboo for the frame to help give it a little more stability. But I'm gonna try putting on the chicken wire and seeing how it looks. All right, guys, here's where we are so far. I have the chicken wire on the bottom and top secured, but as you may be observing, there's a big gap here. Big gap in the middle. I have two options, I think. One is to take chicken wire and overlap it with that. The more talented Esther would cut it to just the right size so it just barely overlaps with the others. The less talented and less prone to make things look so pretty as she needs to person is just tempted to cut a sheet long enough, a strip long enough, and just put it in there and let it overlap as much as it needs to. I don't know. I'll see how I feel when I get to it. Maybe I don't know. Obviously the zip ties need to be cut back, but overall, so far, it's looking sturdy enough to stand up on its own. I will need to secure it to the fence, obviously, to have an actual gate happen. But hey, this is about as good as I had hoped for so far. Except I didn't plan for it to be that gap. Okay guys, I'm done. And I'm way too tickled pink about this because it definitely looks a little bit janky, but it's my janky and it's my own little gate. And let me show you my creation. Oh, and by the way, I decided not to spray paint it because one, it would take a lot of work. Two, it's kind of windy today and I was a little bit worried about drift, like spray painting half the house accidentally, the siding of the house. And three, I kind of like how it looks homemade. I think it kind of has a fun character to it, not being extra polished. Not that I could ever make this one polished. All right, let me show you guys. Let's go see. Here it is. Yes, now it's not, I wanted it to be the height of this fence. It's taller than the fence, but it's holding up pretty well. And in addition to that, to help keep it in place, I put the zip ties on this thing to give it some support. Where's the other one? There's the other one. To give it some support. At the bottom, it didn't need the zip tie because the zip tie goes up this way. And then I put a zip tie here, which can then go like this, and it can lock in a little bit. It's not perfect. There's still a little bit of a gap there, probably a 2-inch gap. But it covers across most of the bottom. And check this out. Oh, there it is. When I go to undo it, let's go inside. I kind of have to hold it, and it closes mostly on me. It's automatic close. That was not intentional, but yeah, I think it's good. And I can actually not latch it and just leave it like that when I'm in the garden. So guys, I am so excited right now. I can't believe I actually got it done. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for joining me in this adventure. I am just beyond thrilled right now of my success. I really was doubting myself about 50 times during the process, but that is the fun of it. You really don't know how it's going to turn out. And when it succeeds, you're like, oh, I made it happen. So I'm sure there are a million ways to do it better, but I'm still pretty thrilled. So thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you aren't already a subscriber, please consider doing so. Make sure to hit the bell alert, so the bell button, so you get alerted when I post new content. And otherwise, I'll see you next time. Happy gardening, everyone.